Hello, Jordan.
What's up, Michael?
You have a new schedule.
Dude, yeah, I'm a morning person now.
How does it feel?
It's just a way of life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, this is what I do.
You wake up earlier now than you have been for a while.
Years. Yeah, yes, sir. You know the key? You know, like the one thing that's helped me tremendously?
Go to bed earlier.
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure. But I'll tell you, Michael, the main thing that's really helped me is I put my phone across the room.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I have it right next to my bed in the morning and the alarm goes off, I can just roll, turn it off, and go back to sleep. But I have to get up to get my phone, which I know this sounds so simple and ridiculous, but by the time I'm up and standing and turn the alarm off, I'm like, I'm already up. I don't want to get back in bed. You know, it's like it's done. That's the key. You put your phone across the room and have a loud fucking alarm. That's it.
That's a good move. I like that a lot. Do you feel a sense of superiority? Like you're better than all of the rest of us with your newfound wake up time?
Listen. Yes. No, but I do feel superior over my prior self.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel superior over who I was just a few weeks ago.
You comparing yourself to your prior self instead of to others I like to hear that.
Yeah, I just know I'm better. I'm better than I was because I wake up early.
Sounds like Michael Scott, and I've watched maybe 3 episodes of that show. Nice, man.
I was trying to get that type of comedic timing down. Like, listen. Yes.
Strong.
He's a genius. He's a genius. Don't get me on that. I know you hate that show.
I am dead.
Fortunately, you're not actually dead, but you are still recovering from, I think, the worst hangover I've ever heard you go through. Ever.
Just last week, I was on here talking about how it's been years since I actually drank and yada yada.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, had my annual golf weekend. We won.
Which you won, double champ.
Yep, back to back, team stick, defending champs, and then Saturday, I don't know what happened, but lack of sleep, like just did not feel good at all on Sunday. And then couple that with, you know, I didn't do any computer work Saturday or Sunday. So then Monday, Tuesday, like just a lot of work, not a ton of sleep, playing catch up. And so here we are, battling it out, making podcasts.
Dude, champ, you won 2 years in a row golf tournament. Let's hear the story of the alcohol. Let's hear how much you drank.
There's not really a story.
There's a story there.
There's not a story. I just don't ever drink. And
how much did you drink?
The Saturday afternoon rounds, you know, our team had it pretty much locked up. And so
what time did you start drinking?
I don't remember. We played 36 on Saturday. We teed off around noon and started, I don't remember, hole 8 or 9, and then just carried on from then until nighttime.
Like 2 p.m.?
No, like 10 p.m.
No, 2 p.m. start.
Oh, started? Sure. Yeah, around there.
Yeah, 2 to 10. Yeah. Did you have a lot of Trulies? What'd you have?
You're very interested in this alcohol thing. No, they had high noons.
You brought it up.
They had high noons, which are a vodka cocktail, and I will never touch for the rest of my existence.
High noons. Are they in a can?
Yeah, they market them like they're a White Claw or a Truly, but they're not. And yeah.
And you had some Fireball. You had some Fireball.
There was some Fireball on the back nine. Look, I'm not proud.
Sounds like a good song name, Fireball on the back nine.
But yeah, we're rallying. We're rallying for the podcast.
So are you never drinking again? Ever?
I'm never drinking like that again.
Ever.
Correct.
Okay. But you'll have like a drink occasionally.
Yeah, but I don't know, 5 times a year.
Yeah.
I just don't like drinking.
Yeah.
It's actually, I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate that I don't enjoy the experience that much, and I definitely don't enjoy how I feel afterwards, and I don't like the taste. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're off the sauce. Because you were on that sauce.
I was on the sauce for an afternoon. And what's funny is, I've mentioned before, this would have been nothing when I was 22 or through my whole college career. So part of it's probably aging, part of it's probably I just don't do it anymore, and part of it's probably just being soft, lack of sleep, dehydration, all these things. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here because we have a laundry list of awesome questions, ideas, concepts, things to discuss. Jordan, I'm going to let you start. I'm going to let you lead us off.
All right. Is there anyone in particular you just want me to pick?
Pick the best one to start with.
Okay, we'll start with this. I've been getting a lot of good feedback on my blood sugar experiment that we've got going on right now. And there are a number of questions that people have put in around it. So the first thing, someone just asked, Jane Clara 27 said, have you done the diet soda spike test? Which is in reference to many people have always said that diet soda, so stupid, somehow tricks anytime someone says something tricks your body, you can immediately write them off as not knowing what the fuck they are talking about. So people have said diet soda tricks your body into thinking that it's real sugar because of the sweetness. And then there's one of two things they say. The first thing is it spikes your blood sugar because it thinks that there's sugar. The other thing people say is that it doesn't spike your blood sugar because it's not real sugar, but your body thinks there's sugar. So your pancreas will release insulin in response. So it spikes your insulin. Now, because I'm wearing a continuous glucose monitor, I could test this. And so I did Tuesday. We're recording on Thursday. Thursday's our recording day, every Thursday. Thursday is like a no-fly day for me. I don't travel, nothing. It's our recording days. So tested it, and surprise, surprise, motherfuckers, diet soda does not spike blood sugar, nor does it spike insulin. And it was cool because if it spiked blood sugar, you'd see my blood sugar going up in the CGM. If it didn't spike blood sugar, but it did spike insulin, we'd see a drop in blood sugar because insulin is essentially what transports blood sugar into the cell. So a spike in insulin without a spike in blood sugar would just lead to often a hypoglycemic response. So you'd have a low blood sugar as a result of it. So
and you had the Diet Coke and your glucose levels remained consistent.
Yeah. When the initial baseline was 93 milligrams per deciliter, and an hour later, my blood sugar was at 96 milligrams per deciliter. So it was like slightly elevated. And I'll discuss this in a second. And then an hour after that, so 2 hours later, my blood sugar was at 83 milligrams it's 86 milligrams per deciliter. So, and I was worried when I first posted because I was like, oh, some uneducated people are going to say, well, look, it did go up and then it went down. But if you actually look at blood sugar, especially if you're not eating and not like fasted for 24 hours, but if you're not eating, it's normal to have a blood sugar range really anywhere below 140. And you're going to have fluctuations considerably. My blood sugar, I think one of the craziest things for me was my blood sugar spiked dramatically when I went really hard in jiu-jitsu or when I did sprints. Like I had a blood sugar spike up to almost 160 milligrams per deciliter just from jiu-jitsu. And that
Interesting.
was something I didn't expect, but it does make logical sense because
Wait, fasted?
Completely fasted.
Interesting.
Completely fasted. And the reason is because if you're fasted, generally, if you're fasted and you do lower intensity work, or even if you're not fasted, if you do low intensity exercise, then your body doesn't need to have extra energy to fuel that exercise. But when you're doing higher intensity work, like whether it's live sparring or high intensity sprinting, whatever it is, even if you're fasted, your liver will create and then release blood sugar into your bloodstream to fuel that exercise, because your body needs more energy. And so when I was like, man, this just goes against literally everything that all these blood sugar people say, that blood sugar is evil, because a lot of them will also say, yeah, do high intensity training to like blah, blah, for all this stuff. I'm like, but you don't understand that also spikes your blood sugar. So obviously it's not the spiking of the blood sugar that's the issue. So it's been very cool for me to go through this. I've learned so much from this process of tracking it, analyzing it, just studying it. It's been very, very cool. So
that's awesome. And how's the response been?
Response has been overall good. I would say it's not as bad as the initial response to the Big Mac challenge.
Really?
Yeah. So I think the difference is the Big Mac challenge was the first time anyone in our end of the industry had done anything like that. So there had been people, like the guy had done the Twinkie diet before, but no one in our world, like in our like relatively small
documented it consistently. Yeah.
And I think people were really surprised by it, and people were very quick to jump to conclusions about it. You're promoting this, and I had all the responses ready to go. Like, I'm not promoting this. I said it very clearly. I don't want people to do this. And I think people have sort of gotten it out of their systems by and large to say this is inherently bad, because now they've seen the end result of people doing these experiments and know what actually is going to happen. Whereas before they had no idea. So they were like really quick to jump and based on their emotions. Now I would say 92% positive response. And then the remainder is a potentially negative response. Like 8% people are, you're harming people, you're promoting this, da 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 da. But overall, it's been very, very good.
So you gave that range after the Diet Coke. Where is your blood sugar after like 60 grams of sugar?
You know, it's really interesting. So I need to actually test just table sugar. I'm going to test that.
Sorry, I meant like, 60 of any like mostly simple carb. I think I saw you doing like gummy worms.
Yeah. So it's actually really interesting. It depends on it really. So it's very individual, and it also really depends on what I'm eating. So 2 days ago, my breakfast after an overnight fast was 4 slices of white bread, which was nearly 60 grams of sugar or 60 grams of carbs. No, it's actually 60 grams of sugar, right? It was way more carbs than that, I believe. I forget what
depends on the bread. Some breads are.
Anyway, it was a significant amount of carbs. It was just 4 slices of white bread, and white bread is actually the standard that they go by in order to determine glycemic index. But my blood sugar spiked more from a breakfast of an egg white omelet with oatmeal and fruit, had a higher peak spike than it did from 4 slices of white bread, which is wild. But generally speaking, oatmeal produces a big spike in blood sugar, which is interesting because it has fiber in it. It's like it is a relatively a little bit more of a slower digesting carbohydrate, whereas white bread is very, very quickly digesting. So as I've been researching this and looking into it and experiencing it, it really is very dependent on what exactly it is you're eating as well as you, the individual. But I mean, if I can look and show you at my data, which is just, I think it's really cool. So yesterday, my blood sugar spiked up to 150 after the egg white omelet, oatmeal, and fruit Whereas with the white bread, my blood sugar spiked. It's so crazy. My blood sugar spiked only up to 133.
And carbs were close to similar in those two meals?
I would say, yeah, they're probably about similar.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Maybe even a little bit less. Maybe even slightly less with the egg white omelet and all of that. But
really,
yeah, maybe slight because it wasn't a big bowl of oatmeal. It was very small. But it was like one of those like it was very interesting, very very interesting. So
and do you want to give the punchline just for anyone who might not be following closely on social? That's like, okay, so. And most of those comments are disingenuous, but you're not promoting eating one high sugar and sugar only meal per day. You're saying that your blood sugar levels aren't relevant to fat loss progress.
Yes, that's it. Definitely not. There's a couple things, and just like with the Big Mac challenge, I've learned and I've added some things on as I've been going through it. So number one is the original intent was blood sugar spikes, and sugar itself does not inherently prevent you from losing fat. That's number one. Another main one was the CGM industry has exploded. People wearing continuous glucose monitors and all this stuff. And it's actually very interesting because I've been speaking with a lot of diabetics, type 1, type 2, and parents of diabetics. And the prices for them have skyrocketed because the demand has gone up. And now what unfortunately has been happening is that a lot of them are having much more difficulty getting their CGMs to manage their blood sugar.
Really?
Yeah, because they're back ordered, the prices are much higher. So one of the things I'll be talking about in the final video will be like, we should not be using them if your doctor is not like, hey, like if your blood sugar is fine, like you shouldn't be wearing it. We need to be making sure that the people who have it, who need it, can have them, and ideally at a lower cost. I've been talking to people.
How much do they cost?
So the one that I have now is $300 a month.
$300 a month?
Yeah.
Why do you have to pay monthly?
It's a service, right? So I have the CGM and it connects to the app, and in order for it to process all the data and everything, it's $300 a month.
Sounds like an opportunity to get in there and make a $49 a month service and just blow the market out.
Yeah. Actually, I think you're right.
Someone do that.
So that'll be another aspect of it. And then the other thing is the one thing that I wish I did with the Big Mac challenge. I wish I had taken blood work beforehand. I wish I had looked at the before cholesterol, A1C, looking at everything. And I did do that this time. I got a complete set of blood work done, and I'm very excited to compare before and after because the blood sugar people are already pissed, and I don't know what's going to happen with my health. Who knows? Maybe A1C goes up. The difference with A1C is it looks at over 3 months, and this is only 1 month, so we might not even see a change. But if my health declines based on my blood work, I'll talk about it, and I'll be very open about it.
That'll be interesting.
It'll be very interesting. If it stays the same or potentially even improves, the blood sugar crowd is going to go fucking wild. They're going to be livid.
How much body fat do you expect to lose?
So I'm down considerably already. I started at 152.6, and today I was 147.2.
And what day?
Today's day 10, I think. It's very quick.
Okay. Well, so you're down 5 pounds in 10 days, and probably a pound or two of fat. 2 pounds of fat. Probably 2 pounds of fat. The rest water, glycogen, stomach content, all that. Yeah, I mean it's like people really like to, for some reason, say, "Oh, weight doesn't matter, body fat doesn't matter." Like pretend that there's no overlap with health and body fat. But when you look at something like this, and you look over a fixed period of time, and you have someone go lose, I mean, 30 days isn't a ton of time, like you said, but generally when someone is sleeping enough, training consistently, getting some activity in, and they lose body fat, assuming they're not already underweight, their health markers improve.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what's expected here. But yeah, I'm glad you're getting that data too. That'll be interesting.
Let's see. What else do we got? We got Oh, here's one you got excited about when I asked this question when I read.
All right, let's go.
I'm not going to read their handle, but they said, I definitely don't want to read their handle because if their coach is listening, that's not going to be good. Someone said, "How to nicely break up with my new coach with my new coach that tells me no fruit and to eat the exact same food for a month."
You're not going to like my answer. This person asking, I almost hope they don't hear this because they're really not going to like this, but you don't. Like, you made a 4-month commitment, you made a 3-month commitment, you made whatever kind of commitment, you stick out your commitment. In an era of like website articles going back years, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, like assuming this person is putting out content, how did you not know this was part of their philosophy when you signed on for coaching? Like, that's just a complete lack of homework before signing up for coaching. Now, sure, if this person is promoting something public facing, more of a flexible dieting approach, and then you sign up with them and they're like 6 small meals at these times, these are the exact foods, no, you can't have fruit, then you don't have to do it politely. You can do it very bluntly and just cancel your billing and say, sayonara. But otherwise, you made your bed. You got to lay in it. I wouldn't follow the guidelines, assuming they're relatively extreme like that. But yeah.
Yeah. Like if I think it's an interesting point. Like if you've been following them and they've been saying that all along, and then you signed on for them, but then you come across someone else's content and they say, you don't like that. Well, you can't just go and then cancel just because someone else says that. Like you signed on knowing that that's what you're going to do. There obviously is a line though, where even if you knew what you were getting into, is there some type of a line that you would say like, I don't know, you're supposed to eat, supposed to eat like, what's the line?
All right. If I sign up with one of the carnivore guys and I want their nutrition and training protocols, and they tell me I can only eat animal products, I'm not going to cancel and say, man, this guy says I can only eat animal products. He's a carnivore guy. Of course, that's what I walked into. Now, I'm not going to do it, but I'm just a big, what Gary taught us early on. Like,
yeah. You have an agreement. You see your agreement
bond. You have an agreement. You see out your agreement. Yeah. Hopefully the training programming doesn't suck, so you're getting something out of it.
Now, let's say that the agreement, that the time they agreed upon is already up, but she's nervous to end the coaching. How would then you go about it?
Complete personal preference. Like, I think most people go indirect in that situation, and that's fine. Thanks so much. This was great. Highlight the 2 or 3 things that you enjoyed about the process. Wishing you well.
I had a business coach once who was not a good business coach, signed on for 6 months with this person, paid a significant amount of money, and we were supposed to have 1 phone call a month and a whole bunch of other things. And after the first couple of calls, that's all we had. And then there was no communication. It didn't go the way that it was supposed to go. And when we were done with those 6 months, because I paid up front for it, when we were done with those 6 months, I wanted to write a very honest email explaining how disappointed I was with the service. And I held off. And I've forever been glad that I held off.
Interesting.
I've always been glad that I didn't send it because, and not because this person and I are friends. We're cordial. If we see each other, it's fine. But there have been moments throughout the years where if I had sent that, I think it would have caused more harm than good. And I do think there's a time and a place to be very honest and open and blunt with people. You just have to really weigh the risk versus the reward. And I think if it's someone in your life who's like you're really close to, family member, friend, something like where you have your relationship with them is incredibly important, I think it actually makes a lot of sense to be very honest with them because it's important for the relationship. You can't harbor that resentment.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's someone in your life who isn't that important in your life, you might want to think about, is it really necessary for me to say this? Because you might be burning a bridge, and maybe you don't care, but maybe later you will. So it's, I think the people who it's really the most important, and I think most people go the opposite. They think like, oh, I don't give a fuck about this person, so I'm going to say it. But then it comes back to bite them in the ass. And then when it's someone that they love and they're really close to, they're like, no, I don't want to say it. I don't want to hurt their feelings. But it's like, no, that's the person you really need to say it to, and obviously say it in a nice way. But those are the people who really deserve your full honesty. Whereas the people who are not as important parts of your life, I think you can sometimes just not necessarily send it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if it's, I don't know, you're just not happy about a certain thing or two about the service for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
I actually so that's almost the equivalent of a fitness coach making XYZ promises and then not delivering on the promises for the back half of the program.
Mm-hmm.
I'd almost be more likely to be honest and even just like, hey, like candidly, you said new program every 4 to 6 weeks, but the last 4 months of coaching, I didn't get any new workouts. Like that's almost something that you can bring up, but
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, if you back to the original question, if you're past your minimum commitment and you don't want to work with this person because they say that fruit makes you fat and you have to eat 17 small meals a day, like, hey, thanks so much. I appreciate XYZ. And, I'm going to be done after this month.
Yeah. I like that. All right. Someone said, how do you not give in to temptation? Like the temptation of having 2 donuts instead of 1.
Oh, tell
the story.
Tell the story.
All right. I'll tell the story and then you tell your story.
Sure.
Cool. So for this blood sugar challenge, I was finding new ways to spike my blood sugar. One of the recommendations was a donut. So I went to Krispy Kreme, and I've had Krispy Kreme donuts before, but I've never gone to Krispy Kreme before. So at first I try and walk in, then I realize it's only a drive-through. So I have to get back in my car. I'm going through the drive-through and I'm recording the whole thing for Instagram and for YouTube and stuff. And the woman who's speaking to me through the drive-through, she's like, all right, what do you want? I tell her and she's like, okay, cool. We also have hot ones coming off. Do you want the free hot one? Apparently they give you a free hot donut. And just instinctually, I was just like, no, I'm good with just the one. Like, I don't need more. So I didn't say all of this. I was like, no, I'm good. And people lost it. Like this person being like, how the fuck did you not get the free one? It's like, it's free. Why not eat it?
Okay.
It's like, yeah, now you tell your story.
Nothing is free. There's an opportunity cost to everything. We had, I don't remember what year of university, or it was like an economics class. I don't remember, but there was a free pizza dinner and everyone in the class could go later that night. But the pizza's not free. You have the caloric difference between the pizza and what you would have otherwise eaten. You have the difference in progress between that meal and a different meal. You have the time you would have had to walk all the way to Granger building to go get the pizza and then walk home versus have your home cooked meal and you save 40 minutes there and whatever your life hourly is. Like there's no such thing as free. And for whatever reason, and I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick or arrogant or I don't know, but like normal people are obsessed with free. And, free anything. It's like, oh, give me that. Free this. That's why every time I go to GNC, they're like, email, or phone number. I'm like, no, I don't have a phone number with you guys. They're like, well, just give it to me. It's free. And I assume that converts so well for them. They all say it every single time. I'm like, no, I don't give you my phone number because I don't want you to call me. I don't want you to send me emails about whatever, 5% off this supplement. The donut doesn't cost any money, but it's not free.
I love that. I love that. It's also...
There's a non-monetary cost to having it.
You know what's interesting is I love that perspective, and it made me think of another cost. The cost of... So this person... I want to read the question. She said, how do you not give into temptation, like the temptation of having 2? So the cost here is this person believing another cost is them furthering the belief that they can't say no, that they don't have the willpower, they don't have the discipline, right? So every time that you say yes, well, just yes, it's not costing you money, but it's costing you belief in yourself, right? If you just feel, oh, I just have to say yes. No, you don't. You don't have to say it. And every time you do, you're paying more into that. You're paying more for the idea that you don't have that ability to say no. You don't have that self-discipline. You don't have that willpower. So I love that perspective and that view of it's not free because you're paying it. You're paying with something.
Yeah. And that's a great point too. That's another cost. Instead of that second donut too, then when you would have had the fiber puffs or whatever they're called, bran buds later on, it's like, oh nope, instead I had an extra Krispy Kreme. Like I feel slightly worse. There's nothing in this world is free, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's also something to be said for when I am not in a cut, I might have had it. Right? Like if I'm not in a phase in which I'm deliberately trying to do this to lose weight, whatever, fine. But I'm very much, and I think most people are similar in that if you decide you're going to do something, that you actually have a better result if you have very clear guidelines, clear restrictions, like this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. When there's more ambiguity, it's easier to give into temptations because you haven't set rules for yourself. And so if I didn't have rules, if I was just on my normal day to day and I wasn't in a mini cut, yeah, there's a real chance I would have gotten it unless like I just wasn't hungry or I decided I didn't want to. But because I was doing a mini cut, it's like, no, this is going to push me past my calories for the day. And that's unacceptable for this mini cut. So the answer, it's not even temptation. It's like, no, that it wasn't even a temptation because I had set myself, I'm just going to have one from the very beginning.
Yeah. And if you're not in a cut, then sure, have it if you're hungry. Have it if you want it. Have it if it makes sense for you. But if you're only hungry for one,
I think it makes sense. Like in these situations, I call them bright lines, having a very clear, like, what are you going to do before you get there? What's your plan? All right, you're going to Krispy Kreme. Like, what one are you going to get? How many donuts are you going to get? Just one? Cool. That's it. So when they offer you a free one, oh no, I've decided I'm only getting one. I've made an agreement with myself. It's whatever. And that could be with anything in life. When you make an agreement to do something, even if it's with yourself.
Even if it's with the coach who tells you can't eat fruit.
Yeah. Keep the agreement. Let's see. Do you normally avoid candy/high sugar items? Yes, I normally do avoid them. I'm not prioritizing them in my nutrition. I don't demonize them, but I do avoid them on a consistent basis. It's like I don't buy them regularly and have them in my house. I don't deliberately ask my wife to get them at the grocery store. Like, hey, would you mind getting a box of Entenmann's? That's like not what I do. So yeah, I normally do avoid them because they're not conducive to my goals and to what I want to be having on a consistent basis. But if I do want one and it fits with what I want in that point in time, then I'll go have one guilt-free.
Good answer.
What about you, Mike? Do you normally avoid them?
I don't know what normally, like, I'm trying to think of what percentage of my total calories high sugar foods make up.
Probably pretty small.
Yeah, probably 3 to 5%. So yeah, I mostly avoid them, but I'm not avoiding them. I'm just focused on eating other things. Mm-hmm. If I'm getting 75 grams of carbs at dinner, it's rice or it's sweet potatoes. It's not like 4 packets of Gushers or fruit snacks. And that's not because I'm avoiding the high sugar processed dessert type snack. It's that, no, this food's going to make me feel better. This food's going to give me more fuel for longer. This food's going to improve my health over the long run. It's just all of the benefits of the other option, not the, yeah.
It's not a removal based mindset. It's an addition based mindset. Like you're adding the things that you want, not removing the things you don't want.
Correct. And if I'm still hungry after dinner and I have a little sweet tooth, little ice cream, although I've been doing way less ice cream these days, or a Rice Krispie treat or a packet of fruit snacks, like, sure, I'll do that. Or maybe I'll have an apple or a peach or, you know.
Nice. Do you have any theories on why many fitness influencers are so against mobility training?
I don't have any theories. I didn't know fitness influencers were against mobility training.
There are a few.
I think I've been salty and direct enough in this episode, so I'm...
No, not salt. Dude, you said you were going to go in on this one. I want to hear it.
There should be a rule that you can only follow like 5 fitness people. Really. Because when you get into this, and I part of me understands the excitement, especially early on, but if you're following dozens or hundreds of fitness influencers, there's going to be a lot of conflicting theories and principles and beliefs, and you're getting yourself in a worse position than if you pick a handful who seem reputable and you trust and like go with it and execute on that, rather than a little bit of paralysis by analysis when you're following so many people and consuming so much information and not knowing what to do or where to take action. But so my answer is don't follow so many people, but I didn't even know that or don't consume so much short form content that's rotting your brain. But you know what rots your brain more than short form content though? High noons. So I can't really talk right now.
Yeah. So anytime I get a question like this, I try and have a conversation, because I feel like people ask these instead. You should ask the person who's against it. Like you should say like, hey, like, why are you against this? And I bet the majority of them would say, I'm not against it, but X, Y, Z. And what I've seen from the people who hate on mobility training is usually their argument is mobility training doesn't actually make you more mobile. They say things like there's no evidence to support it, and they have all their own sets of research studies to support their preconceived notion. So usually what they're saying is that they say things like mobility doesn't reduce your risk of injury. They say things like mobility training doesn't actually work, all these things. And they have all their research studies to support it. One thing that's important to understand now is everybody has research studies to support whichever theory they have. And I've played around with this on ChatGPT a fair amount. I could say, hey, give me a study saying this. Boom, sends me the link immediately. And then I could say, give me a study saying the opposite. Boom, sends me the link. So it's very easy now for anybody. And it was easy before, but it's even easier now. I think that they say this because they actually believe it. They actually believe that mobility training does not help prevent injury. They actually believe that mobility training doesn't really work. And they're wrong. Like it doesn't take a long time of coaching people or even just watching people, but especially coaching people, to realize how important sufficient mobility really is. It doesn't take a long time of coaching people to realize who's the most likely to get injured on a consistent basis, just looking at someone's mobility levels or lack thereof. It doesn't take a long time of watching people as they age to see who's the most comfortable and who's not, who can put the dishes in the cabinet overhead, who has enough mobility to do that, versus the person who doesn't have that mobility and you try and watch them do it. That's a big one. Watching someone with enough mobility when they're older to try and bend down, tie their shoe. Watching someone who doesn't have enough mobility to try and do that. Watching someone who has enough mobility and strength to sit down on the chair versus someone who doesn't. It doesn't take much of watching people just to realize how important it is. And we could differ day and night, all day, about what's right and what's wrong for mobility training. And the reality is, like, there are many different ways to train mobility, and they all have merit. Just like there are many different ways to get stronger, and they all have merit. I've generally found I would like to use a little bit of each and have a bigger toolbox than only use one method and have a smaller toolbox. Generally because each method has pros and cons, and with every method, there are going to be some people that love it and some people that hate it. So you might as well have a little bit of all of it, so then you can use all of it. And if there's one that you really don't like, you can spend the least amount of time doing that one and more amount of time doing the things that you actually do like. But there are many different ways to improve mobility. We just have to be aware that the people who say it's a waste of time, one day will change their tune. I promise you that. Okay. Proper Romanian deadlift technique. I feel like I feel it more in my arms and my back.
This person probably just has, like a lot of women, stronger lower body relative to upper body. And so grip strength, upper back strength, shoulder strength, simply holding heavy dumbbells is why she's feeling it there more than in her glutes, in her hamstrings.
I've also noticed that oftentimes when, especially with something like an RDL or really any type of lifting, especially if you're new, you'll be tensing. You're really tense. You're doing a movement that you're not sure of. You're holding weight probably more than you have before. You're a little bit nervous. And if you put your arm straight out in front of you, even with no weight, and you tense your arms, you immediately feel your triceps. Immediately. And I know that there are many people, especially women, who when they do this, newer women to weightlifting, they're going to reach the bar or dumbbells out too far in front of them. And not because necessarily they're always actually reaching, but because they've tensed their arms so much, like they're a little bit nervous, and then the arms just go too far forward. Mm-hmm. And so the key with an RDL is actually keep your arms relaxed. Mm-hmm. And not to relax your whole body, but if you're really feeling your arms, you're probably tensing too much. Mm-hmm. So relax, keep a little bit more of a loose, try and be a little bit loosey-goosey with your arms and with your hands. Just use your hands as hooks. You don't need to be squeezing the bar super tight, just enough to hold it there. Send your butt back to the wall and you're good.
And keep that weight up against your body. If, like you're saying, Jordan, with the tensed arms and even like trying to hold it out in front of you, is going to be more difficult to keep the weight in that position. More difficult on the upper traps, more difficult on your shoulders. So that's something else that'll help. Straps for grip strength on something like an RDL often makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone just asked me this the other day. I think it was in the inner circle. I only don't recommend straps if you're competing in powerlifting. Otherwise, go for it. Mm-hmm. Like there are many different times where straps are totally fine. Really, the only one I don't is if someone's powerlifting or if their grip strength is just so bad relative to their leg strength that it's like, listen, we can't be continuing to fix this with a Band-Aid. We've got to get you to actually work on your grip. But most people, my wife has Versa grips. She loves the Versa grips. They're super helpful, especially for dumbbell rows, RDLs, all that stuff.
Very good. Hit some good questions here.
Yeah, that was a good one, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for listening. We love you. We appreciate you. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review, whichever platform you're listening, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. If you want to join the online fitness business mentorship so we can help you grow your online fitness business, link is in the show notes. There will be big price changes coming soon. This is not a launch yet. Everyone who's already in the mentorship, if you're currently an active paying member, in the mentorship. Your price will stay the same. But if you are either an inactive member and want to rejoin, or if you've never been a member and you want to join, the price structure will be changing in the coming months. Strongly urge you to get in sooner rather than wait, because the price is going up and it's going to actually be pretty significant. So all current active members, you're good. Your price will not change. So if you want to join now and have that active membership, you're welcome to. The link is in the show notes. If not, we'd still love to have you. You're just going to end up paying us more. All right. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you soon.